Hey everyone, this is Two Tails, and I have a tale to tell. And there's a whole lot to go over, so I'm going to move pretty quick, but we're here to talk for a bit about this guy, or these guys actually. So Bacon and Ice Cream Productions is a YouTube channel that's gained several hundred followers over the last year or so. I have the privilege of saying he's a long-distance friend. The channel is fun. It is focused on good times, retro great gaming. They do a lot of charity work. And they have done more than their fair share a giveaway. And because their channel is currently small, I've been fortunate enough to win 2 times. Two tails, 2 times. It's probably my limit there. Now, this is the most recent thing to arrive. This arrived on a day that I was coming back from the hospital with the wife after some medical checkups and so forth. So it was a real nice surprise. But we're currently refinishing the floors, so we haven't had a chance to check that out yet. My kids are pretty excited for it, and this will be a story for a different time. Now, what we're really here to talk about is something I was supposed to cover probably about a year ago. Really sorry for that, Rich, if you're watching this. So the first giveaway they did was a drawing that had 3 categories, and I took grand prize in the Transformer trading card game. And then they went, Bacon and Ice Cream went above and beyond. Instead of just doing one custom-built deck, they realized I didn't have it. I didn't know the game existed until then, so they made me 2 custom-built decks. But they sent a whole bunch of goodies, very carefully packed, for me and my family to enjoy. And because of them, I wound up going out and getting some additional cards. So my wife has a structure deck with some motorcycle transformers, and I've got something to share in just a moment. But anyway, so some of the extra things that came along with it was, let me focus in here, dink. So they sent these damage counters. They're little Autobot heads. I'll tell you what, I didn't realize this until now, but there's different numbers depending on which side it is. So that's really helpful. The decks came in a nice box with Bumblebee on it. One deck is actually already sleeved. I got a whole bunch of Bacon and Ice Cream cards in there, which is actually pretty cool. And some extra cards to modify the deck as I'd actually like to. And an entire pack of sleeves, which I'll get to what I'm going to use these for in just a moment. Now, last but most importantly are the character cards. And they're my favorite part of the trading card game visually. The character cards are much bigger than normal cards. So I got Optimus Maximus, I cannot talk today, and Superion. They're combiners, so you basically assemble them through different bots and so forth. And of course, this came with my favorite Transformer, Hot Rod. Very happy to have this one here. Superion has always been a favorite since the old days. This one is also a combiner. I was concerned on how I was going to store these, but it turns out Rich sent the plastic sleeves to protect them. That really made my day. But I also got Bumblebee, which is a little out of place because he's not part of the combiner. So, Rich, if you're watching this, let me know if you need Bumblebee back. No. My wife said no, but let me know anyway. So here's the surprise. After looking into it and finding out that one of my favorite Transformers was in it, and getting geared up to collect some cards and hopefully build a deck and get a chance to eventually play Rich or my family, because now we have up to 4 decks in the house. My wife helped me track down Omega Supreme. And there was actually 2. There was the oversized promotional card that is playable. But then there's also the combiner card that works as the components to the base and then combines into Omega Supreme. Which, of course, that's the set that I want to use. Building a deck for it was more challenging than I thought, because it's not just about supporting your character, but you have the abilities of the cards that have to work to a specific strategy. But then you have what's called the pips here. And I'm going to go over this real quick. This is a lot of information, so maybe I'll go into it a bit more detail sometime later. Now, I went through 3 iterations. I had an app to help me research cards and look at the strategies. And ultimately, at the end of the day, when it came to this Omega Supreme, let me focus in here. The thing that actually got my attention the most is this ability, the ability to do 1 damage to each enemy when you meet certain criteria. And some of his components have like abilities to it as well. Now, the real trick to Omega Supreme is that you can only combine them if your opponent shuffles their deck. So it stands to reason, straightforward, that I'm going to want to try and get through cards quickly, but I also want to try and survive to the end game. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. Maybe if I go into this in depth another time, I'll pull the individual cards out. So I found a stratagem that'll allow me to have more stars in the deck so I can use more powerful cards. And of course, Ultra Magnus's armor is really strong, but I have to decide if I want 2 of these or if I want to go 1 of the armor and 2 Leap of Faith, which allows me to potentially play 2 cards off the top of my deck, which is a very powerful thing. Now, Matrix of Leadership will actually attach and activate the leadership ability with Omega Supreme, but there's not going to be any other bots in play. So this is more about that attack and defense pip up here, and in a pinch, that +1 attack. So we get to this equipment. Attack drone, extra padding triangulator. I swear I've only had soda today. But, so these seem a little out of place, I would think. I don't really know how most actual players would think, and honestly, I don't know about restrictions and limited cards and so forth. But these have some unique abilities that I think are important. The ability to put 3 of one in a single slot. So, for example, attack drone, 3 of these can go into a single weapon slot on a single bot. And if you have more than 1 in your hand, you can play multiple in a single turn. So I could put 1 of each of those on each of the 3 components to Omega Supreme, and I don't know how it would necessarily work in official rules, but it would seem to me, since they're stackable, if they combined, Omega Supreme would have all 3 of these on his final form. But the real strategy there isn't that they're stackable, it's for this right here. Salvage Parts is going to scrap all that equipment and heal 1 point of damage for every equipment scrapped. So hopefully you can see how that would generally work. I'm going to skip some of these cards just because this is going to be a little bit longer if I spend more time on it. So I can come back and do a better look at this later. A lot of things to draw cards and force people to mill cards and so forth. Again, damage, and some of the equipment itself is more geared towards trying to pierce and get through that armor. But so there you have it, Rich. You've inspired me to get back into trading card games. It's been a long time since I've actually done any collections. Again, the favorite part is not just nostalgia, but the actual bot cards. They are massive. They're detailed. A lot of them are actually foiled. This is truly my favorite part of the whole thing. I think it's going to be fun to play. I now have 4 decks in the house, so I got to refresh my memory on the rules and sit down with the kids and the wife and play sometime soon. But here's the point with all this. Bacon and Ice Cream Productions, my buddy Rich and his friend, I've had a chance to meet them in person. They're funny. They're warm individuals. Rich has got a lovely family. Their channel is worth following. And if for nothing more, if you're not interested in the topics, they do a lot of charity work. They've helped Atari Creep. They do a lot of podcasts. They work with, I believe it's Classy Gaming, who does Extra Life, a children's charity every year. Worth the follow. If you get a chance, check them out. And heck, maybe next time you'll be the one that wins something. And with that being said, Two Tails out.